This is the Ford F-150 Lariat. This is the long wheelbase version. There is a short wheelbase version, but the Lariat is the top spec variant in the F-150 lineup, and it's just the latest arrival in the US pickup invasion of Australia. And on paper at least, the F-Truck seems in pretty good company, especially against the likes of the Ram, the Chev and the upcoming Toyota Tundra. The Americans love it, so why shouldn't we? But is it any good off-road? Well, that's what we're here to find out, so stick around. The F-150 is available in Australia at two spec levels, the XLT and the Lariat. Both are available as short or long wheelbases. The Lariat long wheelbase that we are testing today has a price tag of just under $141,000, but that excludes on-road costs. The XLT, for your reference, is about $33,000 cheaper. Standard features include this 12-inch multimedia touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Both front seats are heated and ventilated, and both of the outer rear seats are also heated. The Lariat also has a 2-panel powered moonroof up above and a whole bunch more. In fact, too much to mention, but for even more details, read my full written review. Exterior paint choices include Oxford White, which comes at no extra cost, or you can choose from a range of colours including blue, grey, silver, or Rapid Red, which is on our test vehicle. The F-150 Lariat is just over 6 metres long with a wheelbase that's just under 4 metres long. So that's going to impact its off-road capabilities, but I'll get to that a little bit later. It is just under 2 metres high, just over 2 metres wide, and it has a curb weight of around 2.5 tonnes, so it's not a small ute. Everything is big about the F-150, but the thing is, it isn't that much bigger than a 300 series Land Cruiser, a Nissan Patrol, or even a Ford Ranger. But it is certainly bold, and it undeniably has presence. There's plenty of shiny stuff, massive grille at the front. It's got some big side steps, those chrome look alloy wheels. Obviously with the stretched wheelbase, the tub is bigger than normal, and we'll get to that in a second, but overall, it's a pretty impressive looking ute. The long wheelbase F-150 is a big ute, there's no denying that, and so it goes that the interior is equally as big. It's a cavernous and comfortable space, but it's practical and premium. All of the charge points you need, all of the storage spaces you want, it's all in here, and it's a very comfortable space. It's massive, plenty of room in the front seat, plenty of room in the back seat, but there are some things I just want to mention, and a couple of those focus on the center console. For one, it's a very deep space. It's huge, you could probably fit a child in there, but please don't. But when you close it and you fold the shifter down at the touch of a button, you open up the top lid of the center console, and all of a sudden you have yourself a bit of a workbench, a bit of a workstation for your laptop, or if you want to throw all your KFC boxes on there, or a pizza box or whatever, I don't know. But this is a real awesome idea and very practical, especially for families. If you're handing food to kids in the back seat or stuff like that, then that is a really good addition. In the back seat though, there is something else that I want to point out that is another handy addition. And that neat little feature is this under-seat storage. Once you have the seats folded up and out of the way, you can access this, and it's just another handy little storage space in the vehicle that helps further boost its day-to-day practicality, and I don't mind that. The F-150 is purpose-built for work and adventure. That much is clear right from the start. It's a power-assisted tailgate, so there's no straining your back muscles to get that down, and it's a whole bunch of good news in the back here. For one, that's a long tub, and that's a wide tub. You can fit a pellet or two, quad bikes, camping gear, dogs, anything you want to. It's a spray-in tub liner, so it's really durable. There are plenty of tie-down points. There's 4 on the walls and 4 in the corners. So that's great if you've got a low load or a high load, you can sort those out. But it has some other handy additions that I'd just like to mention. It has this convenient step. It has a ruler, a couple of rulers across the tailgate, the inside wall of the tailgate here, which is handy. And also, if you're going to do some work off the back, it's got this. And if you need to power a fridge or something else in the tub, it does have a 12-volt socket. And if you need illumination, you're also well catered for there because it does have lighting in the tub as well. And then when you're done for the day or you need to pack up, it's an easy case of just slotting it all back into place. But then there's another handy addition that I'd just like to mention also. If you want to scare your friends or just impress your neighbours, it's even got a remote control tailgate. I'll see if I can get it working. And up it goes. Would you look at that? It's like magic. This F-150 has a 3.5 litre twin-turbo V6 petrol engine producing 298 kilowatts and 678 newton metres, and that's matched to a 10-speed automatic transmission. It also has full-time four-wheel drive and electronic rear diff lock and a variety of driving modes, including those for towing and four-wheel driving. F-150s are imported to Australia from the US as left-hand drive vehicles, and then they're re-engineered here in Melbourne to become right-hand drive vehicles. And I tell you, they've done a hell of a job. This is by its very nature a big vehicle with a lengthy wheelbase, but it really does suit Aussie conditions, especially with Aussie tuned steering and that towing capability just built into it. It's controlled on the road. It has a nice posture on sealed surfaces. The steering has a nice weight to it in all conditions. The acceleration has a great response. That transmission is pretty clever. All in all, on road, this is an almost perfect open road touring vehicle. As a Lariat driver, you have access to a whole suite of driver assist tech that is aimed at making towing safer and more controlled and a more enjoyable experience. But when you get this big ute off-road, you quickly find out it certainly has limitations. Not limitations that ruin its potential as an adventure machine, but it just means you have to drive with real consideration, real care, and you have to know the boundaries at which you cannot cross in this ute. Just remember, if you drive anything more severe than light to moderate off-roading, then you are risking damage to the underbody of this ute or even its side steps. The Lariat suspension is well set up to soak up lumps and bumps on sealed surfaces and even on gravel tracks, but it is less so capable of doing the same job during low range four-wheel driving. You'll get to see in a second it does become very bouncy. You'd expect that longer wheelbase would offer a bit more stability and a bit more control through shallow to sort of moderate ruts, but it really is a bit of a wild ride, as you can see. But visibility is great, driving position is very commanding, steering is great at low speeds, throttle response is really good, and you can't fault the four-wheel drive system in this, but the traction control system is a little bit clunky, because when the terrain does get a little bit trickier, that off-road traction control system just seems to whir and click and clunk away. It's not exactly a smooth, seamless system. So this F-150 has a lot of four-wheel drive fundamentals going for it. It's just hamstrung by its sheer size, that's all. But talking about ground clearance, talking about off-road angles, those things can be ironed out at least a tiny bit by bigger, more aggressive tyres and also an aftermarket suspension lift. They won't solve the problem, but they'll at least make it a little bit more comfortably capable when you're off-road. So all in all, the Lariat is a smooth driving ute on road, that's for sure. Off-road on fast dirt tracks, fast gravel roads, that sort of thing, it's absolutely fine, sits really nicely, really settled. During low range four-wheel driving, however, it is not the best. But that's nothing against the vehicle itself, its mechanicals or its driving modes or that sort of thing. All those things work fine, but it's just the size of the thing. It's okay when the tracks are nice and wide, but when the tracks get a little bit more squeezier, a little bit more treed in, then it gets tough to navigate the F-150 through those sort of routes. Otherwise, it has plenty of potential as a towing and touring platform. And speaking of towing, the unbraked towing capacity on this ute is 750 kilograms, but the brake towing capacity is 4,500 kilograms, and that's a ton more than any mid-sized ute available in Australia right now, and that's a big plus in the F-150's favour. However, this ute has a payload listed as 761 kilograms, and that's less than some of its US pickup rivals that are available in Australia right now. But that payload's also less than a fair few other mid-sized utes also available on the market in Australia right now, so that counts against it. Fuel consumption in the F-150 is listed as 12.5 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's on a combined cycle. On this test I recorded 14.8 litres per 100 kilometres, but I did do some high and low range four-wheel driving. The F-150 has a 136 litre fuel tank, so going by my on-test fuel consumption figures, from a full tank you could reasonably expect a driving range of about 920 kilometres. The F-150 does not have an ANCAP safety rating because it has not been tested in Australia, but what it does have is a raft of driver assist technology, including AEB blind spot monitoring and a whole bunch of tech aimed at making this a near perfect towing machine. For even more details, make sure you read my full written review at carsguide.com.au. A 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty applies to this ute. Roadside assistance is also available, but make sure you check with your dealership for more details on that. Cap price servicing is also available, but again check with your dealership, and servicing is scheduled for every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever comes soonest. The long wheelbase Ford F-150 Lariat is a purpose-built work and adventure machine, but it's better suited to touring and towing than it is to four-wheel driving. Despite that and its less than ideal payload, there is a lot to like about the Lariat, especially its on-road performance, its 4.5 tonne towing capacity and its factory-backed warranty. If you're serious about buying an American ute, then the F-150 should be right in your sights. But what do you reckon? Have your say in the comments section below, and remember, for even more details, make sure you read my full written review at carsguide.com.au.